so excited. We have our special guest here in July 2005, Kiana Chase. So good to see you. I know. But you look exactly the same. Yes. Like seriously, not even a wrinkle. I'm like, oh yeah, you know. I mean, I know it's so on point. I'm like, whoa. I think we should start the way we always start the interview at the beginning. We're so chronological over here. Okay. We just want to know like how you grew up, where you grew up, like who you are before you even came to Playboy. So I grew up in South Carolina, so I'm LA native. That's rare. It is. I know. People are always like, you can't be from here. No, I'm from here. Yeah. And I'm like, my husband's from here too, but it's very rare. It's very rare. And it's so funny because I'm like, I'm from LA, but I meet people and they're just like, you're from here? Yeah. How is that possible? I'm like, yeah, people do. Every once in a while. You know, give birth here. Yeah. Awesome. How did Playboy get on your radar? When's the first time you ever saw it? What did you think? So Playboy, you know, growing up, I mean, I didn't really have access to any of that. Like, I was kind of in a household, and you know, my parents were like, "You're going to school, you're gonna, you know, make good grades, that kind of thing." So I didn't find out until later in life that my dad actually had a key to Playboy. That's so cool. Oh. Well, that's just, I thought you were going to say had a subscription to the magazine, but a key to the club. It's hardcore. I was like, no way. That is so cool. Yeah. You find that out until way later, way after. And then too, like, I never told him that I posed. Really? That's amazing how it just flew under the radar. Never told her. That was crazy. My mom was like, I'm not going to say anything, but you need to tell him at some point. I was like, I never forget all that. Oh my God. That is amazing. Yeah. So, is he still around? No, he literally just passed. Oh, no. And he never found out the whole time? The whole time. Wow. The whole time. I had a personalized license plate on the back of my car at one point, and I was visiting, you know, his house, and he, you know, pulled my car up. He was like, "What is that? What is the license plate mean?" It said Miss July on mine. He's like, "What does that mean?" And I was like, "Oh," I said, "Oh, I'll tell you later." Like, I acted like I was in a rush. I was like, "Oh, oh my God. That was so crazy. I was like, oh my God. And you don't think he thought maybe, like, did he have any kind of inkling? I mean, if he did, he never said anything. That's which is great, because I would have never been able to have that conversation. Like, I would have never been able to be like, hey, let's sit down and let's talk about it. Yeah. You know, I would have never been able to do that. So he didn't, nothing else came up after that. And that was years ago. Nothing else came up after that. I almost feel like he secretly knew, but he didn't know how to have a conversation either. So like, let's just let this go. Always that, like, he wouldn't say it to me, but he would definitely say it to my mom. Like, did you know that she, you know, did this and that? And, you know, my mom would always be like, why did you tell your dad that you did? Because it's easier to tell mom. It's easier to tell her. I'm like, you tell her. She's like, no. Yeah, not that one. No. She's like, I'm not responsible for that. No. She's like, so, yeah, I think we're going to ask the same thing. How did you decide to try it out? Like, yeah, how did you find out? So, for the 50th search, you know, they still have count, so scouting, you know, was happening there. So I was working at the makeup counter, and it was a lady. I don't even know, she was really nice. She was like, so have you ever thought about Playboy? And I was like, Playboy? Like, what think about that, you know? And she's just like, you should, you know, come on Polaroid. And she just sounded so, like, easy. And I was like, okay. And literally, like, I mean, I went up to the studio and took a Polaroid, and she was like, okay, well, you know, I don't even think I really met like the higher ups. Yeah. I didn't know Lacey at the time. Like, I just was there with Polaroid, and that was it. Yeah. And probably like maybe a year later. Whoa, long time. Yeah, maybe a year later. You know, I got the call like, oh, we want to do something, or I was just kind of like, okay, you know, it wasn't
wasn't. It just was so like not even on my radar. Like I was modeling, but not to that caliber.
Yeah.
So even when I did get, the call, like, okay, I want to put you in the magazine, I didn't tell. I didn't tell anybody. I didn't. Like my mom found out later, and she was like, "You did what?"
Why didn't you tell anybody? Did you feel like it was like one of those things that was like too good to be true? And it went,
Yes, I did. I really did. It just was like,
well,
crazy.
Because it seems like the way it happened for you is just so, like, I wish it would have happened to me like that. Like, it's
Very
so
random. And I forgot which girl told me. She was just like, "Don't ever tell that story."
wait, why?
Because it was so. She was like, "So you're just telling me that it was that easy?" Like you were, and I said, "Yeah."
I think it's so cute. It's so old Hollywood. Like, girl gets discovered so sharp and plucked out of nowhere.
Oh, yeah, it's amazing. And I think every girl wishes that kind of luck would happen to them, whether it's for Playboy or a modeling job or like acting job or something.
She was like, "Don't ever."
No, you should tell me a story.
Yeah, one of the.
Oh, jealous.
Yeah.
Yeah, because for so many people, including myself, it was like this lifelong dream that I wanted so bad. It was so hard and so elusive and difficult. And then for other people, it's just like, I was just working one day at the mall and
like I know girls, they're like, "Oh, they told me I could do it, but I needed to get, my boobs bigger, smaller, whatever, nose or whatever." And then I was like, "Oh no."
But what I'm shocked about too is that you went in and did the Polaroid and it was a full year later.
It was definitely a while.
Yeah.
Thinking on the photos. I remember Heather still had this folder in his office of like Playmate tests, even past Polaroid that people would come and test who weren't approved, but it was kind of borderline, so we kept like this backlog. Like I guess in case they ever had a show.
Yeah. I think, and I don't know for sure, but I think that's where I fell in for a long time because I tested for the Millennium Playmate and I didn't get it, but I didn't hear back for a year and a half. I didn't hear back. And I like 3 or 4 times I called and, asked and they were like, "Oh, no news is good news. If you haven't heard from us, that means you're still like, I'm still in that folder." But then after a year and a half, I got a letter in the mail and I was like, "Oh, this isn't good." Like, that means I know what this means. I didn't get it. No. It's like, it's very competitive. There's only 12 girls. I was like so sad. But, I mean, I hadn't really heard about it taking so long for other people. That's why I was like, was I?
Yeah, it seems very unusual. Yeah. I think you were
I forwarded 2005, and I definitely remember at least 2003, maybe 2004.
Wow.
But like I said, I had like an actual job. And, you know what I mean? So in my mind, I was just kind of like, it wasn't
It happens.
Yeah, it wasn't really like a huge, like, I'm making all this.
Yeah.
I was just like, well, they call, great, if not,
Yeah. That's exciting. So, okay, they call you, they say, "How much to pay with the magazine?" You come to do your centerfold. Did you have to do another test then?
Doing another test.
Because, like, if they do the Polaroid, then do they call them in for an actual test, or they just go straight to? You did do a test shoot? Okay.
So that's when I met Marilyn, Lacey, all the guys that worked in the studio. Yeah. So I did the test shoot.
And is that new?
And they were like, yes.
And were you nervous?
I wasn't really nervous. I was with Arnie and
Steve.
And so I wasn't nervous. They were like, "Oh, you must." I was like, "I walk around naked all the time."
Well, and I feel like this Playboy studio, the staff has a way of making everybody feel really comfortable.
Really comfortable.
What began 75 years ago with just 42 students of our own building has grown into a global community shaped by faith, learning, and calling. 75 years, thousands of stories, each one a life of purpose in the making. At CBU, students discover who they are and how their story is in classrooms and competition and around the world. You were made to live a story that matters. You were made involved.
Which was kind of scary too, because I was like, I'm in front of all these men, and I'm just like, D-Robin, and they're like, "Oh, we need to step out." I was like, "No, like, you're gonna see it."
Yeah.
they kind of said like, yeah, you know, that it'll be more time. And so surprisingly, Lacey wound up telling me that I got rushed through because, you know, they were looking for more, you know, ethnicity. Yes. And so, you know, she was like, you know, I'm actually surprised to see you, like, you know, sooner than, you know, a lot of the other girls because, you know, it usually takes a while. So I guess I wasn't in that boat.
Yeah, not anymore. Yeah, not
So
anymore.
yeah, I got rushed through and it literally everything just happened so fast. And I just was, you know, my head was spinning like,
Yeah.
what? This is crazy. And I just was like, okay, I can't.
Yeah. It's like you don't want to jinx it.
And I don't want to jinx it. And I didn't really want anybody to talk me out of it either. Because I know my mom, you know, when I finally did tell her, she was just like, oh, why did you do this to me? Like, oh, that's one child that's just so
Yeah.
you're always just doing things. And I'm like, this is like,
Yeah.
hello.
I didn't even think about that, so we tried to talk you out of it.
Yeah.
You sure it's gonna follow you forever? Is this really, you know, how you wanna introduce yourself to the world? And